Unleash the supernatural.
So there I was, Raidou, ass naked in the middle of my living room, balls deep in a mayonnaise jar.
So originally, I had no intention of making another Meguro sound video, but with the recent fantastic Nintendo Direct, we got the reveal of a Raidou 1 remaster, and honestly, it looks like the most work I've ever seen go into a game remaster. If there's one you think's gotten a better treatment, let me know, because this seems like it's in a league of its own, with just the whole new combat system, the graphics, the slew of quality of life changes. One thing I did notice, however, is that the soundtrack was more or less exactly the same, and some friends of mine also noticed just how cool that soundtrack is. So, once again, I'm here to talk about the best composer of the PS2 era of gaming, Shoji Meguro, and his incredible work on Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoha versus the Soulless Army. Let's get it. That intro you just heard is the theme of Raidou Kuzunoha himself, and perfectly gets you into the vibe the game's going for. It has an extremely high energy to it that reflects the theme Raidou goes for, which is passion. See, the game came out during uncertain times, so the team was directed to make a game that would lift the spirits of Atlas fans. The blaring trumpet blasting throughout the entire track not only fits the detective noir vibe, but also burns with passion. But then it explodes. That's right, while we hear tons of great guitar riffs on this soundtrack, I would say the lead here is the trumpet and saxophone for a jazzy feel. You are still getting Meguro sound, just in a different way. If I had to compare the soundtrack to anything, I would say it reminds me of Persona 4, which is my favorite of Meguro's work, so that's fine by me. The next track, though, is Lazy Detective Agency, which is essentially the home base of Raidou himself. The relaxing nature of this track can't be overstated. It screams, "Hey Raidou, those were some crazy fuck-ass demons you had to deal with. Why don't you take a load off and have a coffee?" It's the main song you think of with the character Narumi, the lazy owner of the detective agency Raidou works for, hence the name of the track. I often find myself stopping here just to unwind. Pseudo-Cho is the town in which the entire game takes place. All the mystery, tragedy, and battles are here. This might be one of the best town themes in gaming. So many moving parts, it's almost hard to discuss. It starts with the trumpets that define the Raidou soundtrack, but then goes into the light strumming of a guitar. Very similar to Persona 5 here. You get hit with these almost mysterious jazzy keys after that, which leads back into the trumpets and sax. It defines everything that makes Pseudo-Cho a great setting. Now for something more intense. We have the Velvet Room, or Cathedral of Shadows theme for this game. The Goma Den is where experiments are done on demons to fuse them together, and that ominous vibe is as strong here as any other SMT game. You have a heavy church organ hitting a variety of different notes. It's a great piece that I had to mention, but I will say I wish Meguro put some more Raidou charm into this, instead of essentially making another Cathedral of Shadows theme. Now, moving on from something missing the Raidou vibes to something that is slathered in it, we have the kinda goofy track, A Momentary Respite. A momentary respite, as the name suggests, is usually played during a comedic or silly scene. Usually, I wouldn't mention a song like this, but the transition from the ridiculous trumpets at the beginning to the absolutely fantastic keys and bass riff, which just leads back into the trumpets, sounds incredible. It would be easy for the jazzy feel of the soundtrack to feel forced, especially when considering other Meguro soundtracks at the time, like Nocturne or Digital Devil Saga. But honestly, after being familiar with his more popular work like Persona 4 and 5, this is almost very ahead of its time. We can hear this too in the next track, Shinsekai. This is the original Atlas song to listen to while it rains. Just pure, smooth jazz. This plays at a bar exclusively for devil summoners to exchange information, and it reminds me of the Continental Hotel from the John Wick movies, but instead of killing people with guns and various other tools, they use Jack Frost. Just immaculate vibes overall. The soundtrack has been a lot of fun so far, but next we got one of the best sad moment songs I've heard from Meguro. That song is Overcoming the Sadness. What I like about this is how it diverts from your average sad song. It starts out with the somber piano notes, but then hits you with the Meguro sound of the Raidou games. The trumpets kicking in take a sad song and fill it with determination. It goes back into the theme of this game being passion. You aren't supposed to just feel sad, you're supposed to overcome your sadness. Which, well, look at that, it's the name of the song. Truly just a fantastic track. Go Raidou is such an awesome track. I mean, this character was so badass that one theme song just wasn't enough. You'll hear this during chases or big breakthroughs in the case, basically during the hype-ass moments of the game. It's as jazzy as the rest of the soundtrack, but with this very steady and loud drum beat in the background that lets you know it's going down. If you're going to solve the case, it's now or never. This is a track that cements Raidou as some of the most fun work in Meguro's career. The game always has a more lighthearted tone than a lot of mainline SMT games. You know, no apocalypse yet, he can play around and give you energetic fun tracks like this. However, the best showcase of the energy for this game is of course the battle theme. Battle Raidou has one of the greatest build-ups for a normal battle theme in a JRPG I've ever heard. When we hit the peak of this battle theme, Meguro just absolutely goes off the demon pill. In a game with a lack of iconic Meguro sound, this makes up for it tenfold. The shredding is almost hypnotic and timed just to hit at the climax of battle. In fact, I'd often find myself purposely making battles last just long enough so that I'd finish during this part of the song. Then if you got enough XP at the end of the battle, you got to hear the level up theme. I mean, stat distribution in Raidou was pretty simple for me. All strength, baby! But if there's still, if you know, I'm pretending I was going to pick a different stat, I'd get to listen to this. Once leveled enough, I would challenge many of the many intense bosses, which also have themes packed with Meguro sound. The beginning of this song just straight up is scary. Like, I love a boss theme that knows how to put the fear of God in you. And this is a good one. All the jazzy and energetic vibes from previous songs are gone. Now it's just hard rock. Meguro shreds throughout the entire song, so it's hard to pick a highlight. But a minute 30 seconds in, we get this. The song being intense all the way through is good, as it'll keep you on your toes, because you aren't in that pussy turn-based shit anymore. This is Raidou, motherfucker. We're in an action RPG now. However, what you won't know at the time is that Meguro has actually been holding back the entire time. These next three songs are some I find myself revisiting the most often out of everything Meguro has ever made. I won't go into spoilers during this video, but I will now be talking about and playing the final boss themes and the ending theme. Again, the spoilers are purely auditory, but if you don't want to hear them, end the video now. Okay, you good? Okay. Now let's get into the fated showdown. The start is just absolutely mesmerizing. He actually opens with the same notes as the regular battle theme, but regular battle, this is not. You get this beautiful Meguro sound that reminds me a lot of the Almighty from Persona 4, if you're familiar with that track. This leads into keys that's almost nostalgic as you reminisce about the adventure so far, before the guitar really starts to pick up. That's when we get the Raidou sound, mixed beautifully with the Meguro sound. The trumpets here tell you to push forward, that the case has finally been solved, and now you just have to wrap up the loose ends. It's a beautifully triumphant track that makes it addicting and hypnotic to listen to. However, this is actually only phase 1. The next track, Shock, the final battle, is something that just punches you right in the teeth. Beginning here is such a treat. You get the heavy, quick drumming, then the faint strumming in the background before it erupts. If the first thing was making you nostalgic for the journey, this one really hammers home that this is the final push versus an incredible enemy. This track isn't as interesting as the first phase, but I think Meguro was just like, hey, I want to make the coolest track I can think of, and started going absolutely fucking wild. It fits an ore farmer like Raidou challenging his strongest foe yet. As the game closes, Meguro tucks you into bed with one last masterpiece, the credits theme. And come on, this is just pure jazzy goodness. Everything that represents the vibe in this game is just right here. You got the jazzy trumpets playing what I believe are bongos in the background and a strong heavy bass. While the song is overall happy, you do get licks of a more somber tone because despite having saved the day, the journey's over now and life goes on. We mourn the losses and celebrate the life saved. Just another day for Detective Raidou Kuzunoha. This has been Mac. Video games are awesome, but I'm getting hungry.
Said to her, lady, you will never crack these nuts. It just won't happen. I don't care how many romantic fantasies you have. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't get tied down to a woman. In fact, the hentai they print in these newspapers is far better than any 3D woman I've ever seen.